the exchange. And joining me live now is someone who has been at the Paris conference all week. Dr. Tadesse Amera is the co-chair of the International Pollutants Elimination Network. He represents more than 500 public interest organizations who are working to build a toxic-free future for the world. Dr. Amera, thank you so much for being with us. One of the things that I find interesting is that you've talked about this idea that recycling is really not the main solution here. It really should be about countries looking at the entire sort of life cycle management for plastics. That is looking at plastics production and consumption and identifying the hotspots through production and looking at impacts on the environment, impacts on health, impacts on the economy. Just walk us through how much that approach would be a game changer for reducing the health and climate effects when it comes to plastics pollution.
Thank you very much. This is a very important question because we are trying to show the governments and parties which are gathered here in Paris that this is not a waste management agreement. This is a health and chemicals agreement because plastics are made from carbon and chemicals. They are derivatives of fossil fuel. So in order to handle this, it should be seen from the health perspective, from human health and environmental health perspective, and this is well reflected in the discussions. And the governments also take this seriously, and we are discussing on this issue in different groups here in Paris.
When you think about Africa's sort of unique challenge in all of this, obviously Africa is not a major producer of plastic, but it does reap the harm of some of the excessive plastics waste in other industrialized countries. Walk us through how you think what is being decided now in Europe is going to impact the coastline for much of the continent, just have concrete effects on, you know, the amount of plastics in the waters surrounding the continent. How do you expect what's happening in Europe right now, this conference, will impact the continent going forward?
Yes, Africa is not a major producer, but this thing is coming to Africa, and not only waters, but even terrestrial bodies, and everywhere you get plastics, and they are not degradable. They are staying in the soil and in the environment for hundreds of years. So this is about control. This is about controlling the production and closing the tap from the source, from the production side. If we divert this into recycling, it's about waste management without handling the source. The source always is the main problem. So it's about control. If the source is controlled, if problematic plastics that are creating human health and environmental impacts are controlled, Africa will be saved, because as you said, Africa is not a major producer, but the impact is in Africa with no mechanism of handling even the already legacy waste that we have. And the source should be handled, and in the future that legacy problem will be handled in a way if the source is very well managed. That's about the treaty.
Dr. Amera, there are major challenges here. When you think about just the economic angle for all of this, about 20 petrochemical companies control about half of the plastics that are produced across the world. And many of these companies, especially in the United States, have a huge amount of lobbying power. Of course, there's economic interest at play. So you guys are up against quite a bit here. Just explain to our audience what you are up against.
We are not against the economic interest. We are against the toxics part. We are against the human health impacts and the environmental impacts.
Right, but given the economic, Dr. Amera, given the economic interest for many companies, many petrochemical companies that produce plastics, just explain to us how difficult it is going to be to get some of these measures that you're interested in passed.
Yeah, this is about the handling the diversion of the design, the whole life cycle approach. If the whole life cycle approach is seen in a different economic model, that's not really an impact to the industry. The problem is it affects, it's not only the economy that's gained is also expended in some ways, or it's a burden to the public, and it's a burden to to countries, especially developing countries. The gain is somewhere and the expense is somewhere. So this should be balanced. What does economics means? Is it economics to one part, as you said, to the 20, for example, multinational companies, or to the world? That is the question. So the economic interest should be balanced with the health aspect and also with the non-monetized impacts that are created in the environment and in human health worldwide.
It should be. Just walk us through, though, how, whether or not you really expect countries to find a common ground, especially given the various competing interests, not just on an economic level with corporations, but even just on a national level too.
Yeah, there will be an agreement that we hope. We are really expecting to have an agreement because everybody now understands, every government, every party understands the stake. That's why we are discussing intensely. Starting from early in the morning to after midnight, we are discussing because this is a serious issue and everyone understands that this is serious and the stake is high. And because of that, we are going line by line in every agreement because this is a mutual interest. The health impact is not to one part of the society or the other part of the society. It is affecting globally. And this should be handled by a global treaty. When the global treaty is handled, that will be nationalized to every nation so that every nation can internalize it and regulate it. In that way, it's not the first treaty. There are lots of treaties on other chemicals issues. So this is not the first taste for the parties.
All right, Dr. Amera, live for us there. Thank you so much.